Okay, so I got this email from Ruben Thomas, and he's saying the main thing I'm struggling with in singing is my vocal range. My highest note is G sharp 4. The main thing I'm looking to learn is how to improve my vocal range and be almost limitless in my range. All right, so he sent me this clip. Let's have a listen.
We all search for the light, day, dead at night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. We've all run at things we know just.
The first red flag to me is I can hear a kind of chronic airiness through the whole thing. So
Stand right.
there's like an airiness coming through everything. It's leaking through.
There's a better life.
Like there's a better life. It's not, it's a better life. It's the vocal cords don't want to stay compressed on the sound.
If you got pain,
Like that. You got pain. And it makes it hard to hit those kind of notes, especially when you start getting, that's on the E there. When you start getting from E and up, E4 and up for the male range, or for ladies watching this, it's going to be like C5 and up, or even like A sharp, B4, C5 and up. That airy sound, it gets really hard to kind of maintain. He sounds great below there. It sounds nice. The airy thing does sound cool, but it's like a dysfunction that's gonna, when you start going up here, you got pain. So you got pain. It's gonna have this kind of, it's got this kind of solidness that needs to come in there. Otherwise, you have a lot of air coming through your voice, and then as you go higher and higher and higher, your vocal cords will just struggle to come together, and you just start straining and choking. The airiness is basically vocal cord weakness. They don't want to squeeze together properly against the air that's coming from the belly. So this is why there is a place for vocal cord squeeze. I notice people that say things like, oh, you know, you're just going to keep it all relaxed in the throat. He's keeping it relaxed, and that's the problem he's getting. Okay? So just being relaxed is not always the answer. If you relax too much, things let go. You don't even have the right muscular engagement happening. So you need to go through a process of strengthening that engagement. Like in my course of Pro Singers Vault, we build up to these kind of things step by step. We first develop the push from the belly without any squeeze. Like there's no squeeze there, right? There's just push. And then we learn how to make sound in the low range like that. There's a lot of push going on here, a lot of work here, nothing here, right? But you can't take that sound very high. So at some point, you have this push, and then there's vocal cord squeeze that has to come on top of that. So it can't just be So can you hear there's like a and there's this squeeze coming in, right? Now we don't want too much of it. Right, it's too much. But we don't want too little. And that's what this gentleman is having. He's having too little squeeze, too little chord compression. I see how it gets clear and solid as I go up. Starts loose. And then it increases in intensity as I go up. And that's because as I'm going higher, there's more vocal cord squeeze I'm bringing in. Okay, so what I asked him to do was to do some exercises, R vowel, and this is what he sent me back. So you can kind of hear the problems in the vowels. So can you hear how it's kind of like muffled and airy, like it's kind of got an airiness and like that kind of sound to it. So this is where training certain vocal exercises can make a dramatic difference in your voice if you do them right versus if you just do them on autopilot with your current setup. Now compare that with this. So this is what he needs to do. See, that's a lot clearer. Compared to this. Where are we? So that. Yeah. You see how there's like a bright cut to it, but it's also deep. So it's not just ah. It's not ah where it's up in my throat, but it's not. It's not just deep as well. It's both together. Ah, it's got like it's open, right? So this is the big difference between like, okay, I'm just gonna go on the internet and grab some vocal exercises and start training, right? And then you just sing with the exact same problems that you sing with on songs. Like that's what he's doing there. So he's doing that scale the exact same way he would sing in a song. Therefore, the scale's not gonna do anything. Okay, and I'm saying this because I know a lot of you are practicing vocal exercises and you're kind of just hoping the exercise will just make your voice magically better because it's an exercise. No, if you're practicing singing songs and then you just do the same thing on the exercise, you might as well just practice singing songs because it's not going to offer you any difference unless you physically do something different on the exercise. So in this case with the R vowel, the problem he's having is he's not able to get the pronunciation of the R clear. Or the ah! He's struggling to really get that ah! Ah! That real clear, solid ah! Ah! That vowel is very important for him because that's going to build the strength in the squeeze muscles in the vocal cords if he can get it right. If he can't, we then have to find another exercise that's easier to kind of get his foot in the door, so to speak. So the next step forward is you've got to be able to get this working on all the vowels. And the hardest vowels that you're going to find are the dark ones like oo and o. Those vowels are difficult because they will want to exasperate that airiness. They'll want to go, oh, you're going to feel like you just can't. Oh, you're going to find it really hard to keep it solid like that. Okay? Or the oo especially. Ooh. You see, it's really clear. I'm not having to go, I'm not having to kind of choke off my throat to get to that sound. And I talked about this in my previous video about going up into the second bridge range. And this is the problem you're going to face next, is that in order to get that clear, strong sound, your larynx will probably want to raise too much. So for example, you'll probably, as you come up to like the G, it'll want to do that instead of, you know, so I can stay right on that. I can bring in the squeeze without going, without losing the position. Okay, it's super important because if you have to lose that position and go, you'll end up with something that's not stable and not really usable when you start to sing in the high range. So I want to kind of show a little clip of a lesson and a student where I kind of go into that. Yeah, so you notice he gets up to the note, but you notice there's an instability in it. It's like, oh, it's kind of like wobbly, a little bit behind the throat. That's the thing we have to make sure we don't go down that avenue. So as you start going in a high range, you're going to feel like your voice will either go down that way or there's another way that you need to go. Oh, where it stays really solid all the way through it and it doesn't excessively thin. And you can take that up into the high notes without having to get it really wobbly and overly thin. And that's what he's able to start tapping into now. That's it. That's how you got to do it. That's how you got to do it. Like, can you hear it in my voice? It's like this. It's just coming in. And if I don't do it, this is what happens. I have to go to like a really thin sound, which it sounds fine on the scale, but in a song it doesn't work. Because if you put that in a song and you're like, you know, Ed Sheeran song, people fall in love in bed. It's going to be like that. Yeah. But in the scale, like you can go super high with that and it feels so easy. But when you try it on other vowels, like an oo, that's what's happening. It's really thin and so. Right there. Do you hear that? You hear that like going into like almost like you're about to vomit or something, right? So that's the key area on the F sharp. You have to get into that kind of squeeze. You don't want yeah, it's very relaxed and easy, but that doesn't carry into songs. Now, while you're building this up, you're going to go through a phase where things sound ugly, and you're going to hear this when he's trying to get into his higher notes. You may need to lift your chest just a little bit when you go up higher. Can you hear where he's kind of trying to coordinate how much a squeeze is? Like he's trying to figure out how much to bring in, right? And you're going to go through this phase when you learn this. Like that. Like that. You hear it's ugly, right? It's like a dying dog, but you're gonna go through that first to build it. Don't expect your voice to just magically become pretty, just jumping to the end product. You have to go through this phase of building up strength. So yeah, initially it's like that, and then eventually as it gets stronger, it gets easier, and because it's easier, the note can come out with less struggle, and then that's what makes it sound more free. Okay? But you don't get there by avoiding that ugly position. You have to go into that position, and you have to learn how to strengthen it. So if you're just doing things like you're probably not really going to get very far with it. If you're just doing that kind of stuff, you're probably not going to get very far with all of this stuff. Because that sound, while it works in the scale, it's not going to really kind of apply much further than that into songs. And eventually, we want to sing, right? We want to sing songs. So it's really important that the exercises you do are done in a way that can actually be applied and carried over into singing. And that's something I'm very, very mindful of when I'm taking people through certain sounds. That, okay, this is a sound that's going to build up your voice so that you can use it for singing. It's really important that we do things in that way. So I'll leave the video there, but I hope you enjoyed it. Now remember, all of these things can be done wrong. They can be done in the wrong order or the wrong time. There is such a thing as the right time and place to do certain exercises. For example, in my program, the Pro Singer's Vault, I specifically lay out things like, okay, this exercise you only take up to this range. This exercise you only take up to this range, these kind of things like that. And I do that because certain coordinations don't work the right way if you take them in the wrong kind of range. So initially, we only work up to middle C for guys and F4 for ladies. And I have a bunch of specific exercises just tailored for building that range the right way. And then after that, that's the prerequisite to then be able to go up to your first bridge and build up to that the right way. And your first bridge is F4 for guys and C5 for ladies. So if you're struggling to get up to that area in your voice, it's actually, we have a whole protocol of things that you have to build up before you can even get up to there. And you're probably missing that in your voice. Then if you're struggling with your second bridge, which is like the A4 for guys or E5 for ladies, that's likely because you haven't built up the first bridge properly, or the stuff below the first bridge the right way. So all of these things stack onto each other, and you build up the voice to be able to increase your vocal range. It's taken me many years of trial and error to figure this stuff out. And what you get with the course is I'm there to give you feedback the entire time. So what you do is you work on the course, you send in recordings, I check to make sure you're doing it right. I'll tell you if you're doing it wrong. I'll show you what to do if you are doing it wrong and how to fix it, what parts of the course you need to focus on. The course shows you then how to carry all of this over into songs. So if you're serious about your training and you really want to just get the step-by-step system and not have to go hunting around trying to piece together this stuff yourself, just get the damn course, because you don't want to spend years of trial and error when you can just have it all there for you. And then, I mean, singing is hard enough as it is. You might as well just make it as easy as possible. Have the whole protocol laid out for you. So I hope you join it, but if not, that's okay too. So anyway, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for videos or songs, requests or anything, just leave them down below. I'll check out your comments. And thank you for watching.